Welcome back. We got month 2 of our themed photography discipline focus series on McBain Camera TV coming up right now. We already talked about wildlife photography. All right, we want more hips, less butt. More hips, less butt. So moving into June, we are going to be talking a little bit about focusing on landscape photography and the kinds of things that you should do to make sure that your landscape photography is the best that it can be. Dust on your imaging sensor becomes a really, really big problem for digital photographers. The last thing you want to be doing is spending 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes going through and removing dust spots from each of your images. Some of the questions that we get in the store when it comes to cleaning your sensors and pertaining to landscape photography is, how do I clean my sensor? Do I even need to clean my sensor? How do I clean my sensor? So to help us answer some of those, we've got our sensor cleaning guru expert man, Danny Vo.
Welcome to my lair today.
Thank you for having me. So, sensor cleaning on cameras. Like, why do you need to do it?
If you ever do a lot of landscape stuff and you see little black specks kind of in your photos, especially with a lot more kind of mirrorless cameras now.
Right, because the sensor's not sitting behind a mirror.
Wide open, right. Exactly.
Yeah. What's the best way to tell the difference between a spot that's actually on my imaging sensor and just like a thumbprint on my lens?
You'll see it in usually in the kind of like highlighted kind of areas, in like especially skies or something in the bright spots. You'll notice a consistent black kind of a speck all the time.
And it's not going to move at all when
it'll be consistent in pretty much every photo.
And zooming and everything's not going to change any of that? No. What if like a newer photographer, you know, they're out shooting or something and they don't really know if they have a dirty sensor or if it needs to be cleaned? What's the best way to test for that kind of thing?
Sometimes if the dust particles are big enough, you can probably see it right away. If not, generally I have one of these, what they call like loops as well. It's got an LED light and a kind of a loop that kind of magnifies in. And the other way most people that actually tend to use is take a photo of either kind of a white sheet of paper or a blank sky, but you stop it down to like f8, f11, and then you generally can see your spots in there. If you do start noticing it, when you see it, then you come in for it.
It's not really the kind of thing that you do every like 3 months or 6 months. It's fix it when the problem arises.
Basically, yeah.
What are the actual methods that you're using for cleaning these things?
First thing I use is a blower. Of course, you have like your microfiber kind of swabs. They are made for each sensor size as well. These are the crop sensor size APS-C ones.
So if you've got a full frame sensor, you'll want to get a bigger swab.
I also have a couple of the cleaning solutions. This one is the V-Dust one. It is an alcohol-based solution. It does evaporate away quite quick. And also we have a smear away solution in case there's some smear marks.
So this is like a surfactant to break down oils and that kind of thing?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
This is the one I generally use after V-Dust first, and then if you actually notice smears, then I use the smear away. One thing to note, if you are doing a sensor cleaning, make sure there is a fully charged battery.
All right, man, show me how this is done.
So for most of the cameras, if you're in the auto mode, you'll probably have to switch it to like a manual kind of setting. That way you can actually lock up the mirror. Go under usually sensor cleaning or mirror lockup, then clean manually, and then you'll lock up the mirror. Grab your blower, kind of blow out anything that you can see right away. Generally face it down just so everything kind of just drops down as well. Once that's done, I use a loop with a LED light, and you can actually double check whether you actually made sure it's clean or not. There's actually no specks in here.
It's clean already.
It's done already. We're done. If this is good enough, I'd probably just leave it there. If that doesn't work, it's usually static, kind of holds some of the dust there and you can't really blow it out. That's when we start kind of taking our swabs. Yeah. So you want to make sure it is wet, at least edge to edge here. Just wet enough, just to be able to drag it across.
So this is probably why you don't, this isn't really necessarily why you want to do it all the time, because you're actually taking like a thing and physically brushing it across the sensor.
One thing to note too with the mirrorless cameras is you don't really have to lock up the mirror like you do on those guys. But a lot of the mirrorless cameras now have like in-body stabilizer. It is recommended to actually like turn on the camera so the sensor actually holds in place as you're doing your swabs.
Right, you don't want that stabilizer to be freely floating around.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, even after watching this, what if someone is not comfortable with doing it themselves?
It's sort of this weird thing where the sensors aren't as delicate as most people think, but they're like also not.
Danny, this is where you sell your services.
Oh, okay. We do sell the kits. If not, we do offer the services here as well too for $70 per camera body, and we can make sure we take care of that for you.
No dry swabs here.
No dry swabs here, exactly.
Our swabs are moist. They're so moist.